first day of shooting.
Oh yeah.
We're in Queens. At Queens Plaza. Oh, here comes our train.
Enter the train. We're going outbound. So when you go down to the platform, you go to the end of the platform on the Jamaica-bound side, and we're in the last two cars.
I was reading Dostoevsky's The Double, which is about a guy who wakes up and his double's there starting to replace his life, and was thinking about how to do something with it. And I went to see Swan Lake at the ballet, and didn't know that one dancer played two roles, a white swan and a black swan. And it was sort of an aha moment, because I realized that there was the story of a double here, except it was better in its own way, because the white swan, the black swan was such beautifully drawn characters, and I felt I could really build on that and turn it into something.
We're at Lincoln Center. This is day 1 of 42. We only have 1 week of exteriors though, so the cold shouldn't be too bad. The Wrestler was way worse.
She'll start to look, and she starts to look, that'll motivate you. And then
she's going to have to give us a turn.
She's going to give you a turn, get right in front of her. I want to see into her eyes here.
Fundamentally, I go into every film trying to figure out what the balance of dark and light is. And I go into every film trying to use lighting to create an atmosphere for that film. In Black Swan, it was just literally trying to figure out how to make the film look as naturalistic as possible.
Well, we shot a total of 43 days. You know, starting that way was tough. It was tough on the crew, it was tough on morale. You know, to just start a shoot and go into winter nights in New York City.
Still get some nice architecture, still beautiful. Is that us?
Yeah, it's us.
We have a limit to how many people can be over there and have to be 3 feet away from the statue.
So the camera comes here, from over here, right? Start to come up.
One of Darren's big interests in filmmaking, I think, is subjectivity and making sure that you're always telling the story from the point of view of your main character. The film is a fable, and it's in a lot of ways it's a ballet, but the way that influenced us is that we took a lot of elements from Swan Lake that aren't necessarily explicit and sprinkled them throughout.
And cut. That's great. You know, as you may have heard.
Yeah, as some of you might know by now, you know.
Oh shit, I'm there again. Different show.
She'll be giving her last farewell performance as Melpomene in the role she originated in my first ballet. My little princess, we'll miss you, but you'll never be forgotten. This is Dr. Brinson and her husband, Freddie. Tonight's sponsors.
Such a beautiful event.
Oh, not as beautiful as you, my dear.
And this is Mr. and Mrs. Stein.
Oh,
it's a pleasure. It's so lovely.
Oh, thank you.
A screenplay really is, by design, meant to be a springboard for like everyone else who would become involved in the films. In the case of Black Swan, it was definitely, I felt like I was in very good company, and felt like at the end of the day, they were all going to make me look very, very good. I think in the best case scenario, you take something like that and then you see how it actually gets realized, and every step of that realization is sort of like, oh, it's just getting better and better and better. That's honestly how I felt in this case.
In the room, the camera will come out and look this way.
at the end. We're gonna be heading that direction, okay? So everything is safe around the corner there. Everything in the hallway, both directions is in, and this room will be sealed. So if you're in there, it's a bad place to be.
I'm nothing. 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 No. Nothing. Nothing. Fucking nothing. Ah!
Cut. Good. Very nice. Check the gate. Okay, let's shoot.
Okay, picture time. Let's close 13A, guys.
One of the reasons I love working with Darren Aronofsky is there are directors and there are filmmakers. He is truly a filmmaker. He approaches this film from such a wide range of ideas, and he's very open to ideas. I was presented with every version of Swan Lake imaginable. Go away, come back, let me know your thoughts.
And action.
Mom? Where do you want me to go?
It's a combination of everybody walking into a set that is now dressed. Then the actors walk into a set that's now dressed. They take it in for a moment. Maddie and Darren will block out exactly where we're seeing the set. So then it becomes a scramble of redressing the set to that blocking. Sometimes the blocking is incredibly organic. I have to quickly change around to make sure that those backgrounds look as best as possible.
It ended up in being the end of the day, and it was probably 3 in the morning, and Darren just had the camera on me, and in 5 minutes just kept it rolling, and then would just be start again, and gave me a very specific direction right at the beginning of each time, and had me do it just a run of it 20 times in a row, but giving me all these different things. Now do it this, now that, and it was so, that's just where he's great, because he's able to really focus at the hardest moment and be really specific, and also try a real range of possibilities.
I'm incredibly proud to have worked with a director that knows how to push people, but is such a great collaborator that you want to be pushed. This one was very challenging, not only for the budget, but the time schedule was so tight. But I also find that on movies like this, when you have those restrictions, first thought, best thought. I truly believe in that, and this is such a good example of that.
Max in the POV, which is the this 9.5 lens underwater.
Yeah.
We're gonna drop 2 drops right by lens. Bloop, bloop. And then Natalie will go. Bloop up.
We won't do the close focus. The tightness that you make this actually determines how close you can focus it. So to have this be completely accurate, it really has to be completely tight.
Yeah, you will. We wanted a POV, a subjective POV, which Darren loves, of Nina in the bathtub. It was one of the large scare moments in the film, but it was simply an underwater periscope.
You're gonna do a thing.
So I put all the color on it, and now I'm aging.
What are you using that, what is that, a stain?
No, this is tinted wallpaper paste. It dries dead flat, and it comes off. If I need to get it off, it'll come off.
So I would do these big breakdowns for each location. I would pin them up on the wall. They would have details for each room, where particular elements went, where to prioritize each room, which is hard because ideally you want to dress and create everything in 360, but when you have a limited budget, I really had to ask Maddie constantly, what are we seeing? What are we seeing? What are we seeing? Let me use my favorite elements, the most important elements in those particular areas.
It's all in the detail. Erica's bedroom.
Who did all the drawings?
The art interns. It's Rothbard. This wallpaper we made. I've made these sun prints upstate. We made wallpaper out of it.
So what happens to everything when it's done? Like when we're all wrapped, what happens?
We usually have to store hero locations. It depends on the studio, it depends on the movie. Sometimes everybody can buy a piece, the art department sale. I don't know what they want to save yet on this one.
The mirrors were an obvious challenge, you know, and also they were always going to be a big part of the film because first and foremost is because mirrors are, you know, omnipresent in the ballet world. Ballet dancers are constantly examining themselves in mirrors, you know, looking at their line, looking at how they, you know, move. And so we always knew the mirror would be a big part of it, and reflection was part of it.
The idea of reflections, which not only did we use reflections in actual mirrors, but any surface where we could get a reflection, we utilized. And there were reflections of both Nina and Lily, but they would intermix and you weren't quite sure who you were looking at. Often that was the gist of the use of the mirror in the film.
We knew reflection was going to be a major visual part of the language. And then it became about how to, you know, take that sort of cliche mirror gag, which you've seen in so many films. It's one of the earliest horror gags, you know, and try to do something new with it and try to make it, you know, more compelling and more different and more freaky. That was the challenge, was coming up with shots and effects that could really push the mirror gag.
Mirrors are just so prevalent in ballet that they had to play a part. And we exploited reflections in the same way in her apartment. You know, not only did she have a mirror in their living room because that's where she practiced, you know, there was reflective surfaces everywhere. And what the aim is to try to have so many of them that some of them we could throw away and some of them we could exploit. There were practical elements to them, and there were digital elements to it that made the whole thing work. But, you know, again, I can't say enough about how, you know, through Therese, through Darren, everything was set up properly in terms of embracing the idea of using mirrors.
They're seeing Brendan in a mirror, but the mirror that they're seeing him in is in another mirror above the bed, which is next to another mirror that they could potentially see him in. And he's going around this giant stalactite chandelier thing, which is also in the mirror. It's great. It's been a cakewalk, really. I can do this myself.
Oh, it's gonna be
There it is. 3 simple letters. ADR.
You can basically edit, color, and mix and score an entire film on a laptop for under $5,000 if you just roll up your sleeves and do the work. So, you know, while it is very hard to get independent films financed today, I think there are tremendous opportunities for young filmmakers to make films that didn't exist 10, 15 years ago.